to another video. In this video, I will be discussing a beginning practice that I will be initiating, which is the practice known that I am introducing as Mensteopathy. And the practice of Mensteopathy, similar to a practice such as osteopathy, where you are using the resonant healing properties of the energy present within the body to specifically pinpoint a part of the body that is malfunctioning by activating a release of a system that is separate from that particular body, you could say, because we obey not just a muscular body, we also obey a blood vessel body, a lymphatic body, a nervous body, and we then get to the soul or spirit body, which is where we now begin the practice of Mensteopathy, which is a practice of releasing the mind. In the practice of releasing the mens, which is what the mind stems from in Latin. Mens means intellect. It is also a term that resonates through the idea of men, where we now see most of them are in a mental state. Women process their emotions slightly different, and I will get to that point in a later bit in the video. In terms of the actual dive into the Mensteopathy, we also now see the animus, which is known as the soul. And then we dive into sensus, which also means intention. And in this particular treatment, we dive into each individual section of the three sectors of the mind, which is not just intention or soul or your intellect, but all three correlated, which then create what is known as the mind. If there is a particular triangle, now if we wish to analyze it from the perspective of the similar structure we now see in the physical health, where if you wish to increase your physical health, you must also increase your mental health and your spiritual health within each aspect of each individual part of those triangles. In itself, it is a separate triangle, which now we see in the mind. We have not just intellect, we also have the intention, also known as the emotion, and now we also have what is known as the soul or spirit attached to that. And in this particular triangle, if we now heal all these particular sides in this particular notion known as the therapy part of things, we can truly create a change and a release in a person's mental or emotional distress disorders that they have generated within their traumatic life experiences, whether it be PTSD, things such as schizophrenia, bipolarity, BPD, on and on and on and on, because these are all emotional distress disorders at the core of their actual beginning root. And if we can truly heal from the point of releasing the resonance attached to the particular thought, then we dive into the emotion, the intention attached to the thought. And then we can dive to the soul, or the invocation into the life that it brings into your life, the spirit of it. And And in this practice, and it is a basis off of a shamanic and psychological practice where we will initially basically utilize music and memory attached to songs which a person has learned throughout their life. And as a person realizes that their songs become the stories they feel emotions are attached to, and that song creates a trigger. If that song creates a trigger, it has an emotion attached to it, which if that emotion has a memory or a trigger attached to it, we have to dive into the memory. When we dive into the memory, the moment the person feels a break in their experience of the memory of singing freely to a song without any other stimulus, rather than just themselves singing in blank silence, in a safe space, you now see that the individual can basically utilize that particular resonance in their vocal cords and release the resonance, the energy, the intention, the emotion. And when they can release that emotion, all of a sudden the intellect heals, where they can process that emotion by letting it go, by expressing that emotion, that motion. And then you see their spirit can heal by separating the emotion from the thought. It is known as Mensteopathy. And as we further dive and further dive and further dive, we can actively create further and further neural ways of changing the treatments of the mind. If we seek to heal something that is the mind, which is something we feel, we experience, but we do not see it, we can hear it, and we can feel it. But in terms of the actual experience of seeing something that is physical flesh, we cannot see the mind unless if you look directly at an individual, which is a reflection of their mind. And based on how an individual appears in their physical appearance, it is the reflection of that mind. In God's image, you are created. In the understanding of mensteopathy, one must also begin re-healing in their spirit, which is rehabilitating their faith. At the core resonant faith of things, you dive into basically realizing where the nature of the beast is, what has created you to feel this much negative emotion attached to those thoughts, which now, as you realize a redemptive pattern where you can change the way a person experiences life by literally pulling the soul away from the individual, so that the body may experience a break in the memory and let the emotion break away from the actual spirit, the ethereal energy. And through this ethereal energy is what the spirit is, what it attaches to the body. And the moment you can break the memory of the ethereal spirit, the scar that is within the mind, the ether. And the ether, once you break where the point of the scar from the particular mind exists in the body, then you begin to see the scar itself begins to heal. You change and rewire the pattern of where the initial thought happened, and all of a sudden every other nerve cell attached beyond that point where the negative patterns occurred would then rehabilitate and refire in a different new ignition, a separative pattern, a new division, a healing, a growth. And through this growth process, we can truly increase a person's intellect in their ability to reflect on their repetitive patterns, where they can begin then becoming a practitioner of their own Mensteopathy, where they can create their own work on themselves, where in the more I experience and create this practice, the more we can truly create healing. Anyways, folks, thank you for watching, and welcome to the initiating video of the practice I call Mensteopathy. Thank you.